nestling into a comfy position. Sitting tall, shoulders back with the spine upright. And shutting down the eyes as we drop into our Ujjayi breath. Ujjayi, where we create that little constriction there at the throat. Tuning into the vibration of the breath as it flows through the throat center. Gentle scan through the body as well, noticing whether we have any particular tension anywhere at all. That tension dissolve with each exhale. Inviting that sense of space into the body and into our minds. So now let's begin to move. Let's inhale the arms to the sky. Exhale, left hand to the earth and right arm up and over. And hold it there with your inhale and with your exhale. Inhale, reaching high again with the arms to the sky. Exhale to the other side, right hand to the earth and left arm up and over. And staying there for an inhale and for an exhale. Inhale, reaching high again with the arms to the sky. And with an exhale, a twist to the right. Inhale, arms high again to the sky. Exhale and twist to your left. Inhale, reaching high. And bring the arms down. And let's flip over onto the hands and knees. Now the hands and knees just starting to move there. So drawing some circles. Tuning into how the body's feeling. Mindful of any injuries. Mindful of any stiffness or tightness. With full awareness and respect of where we're at. When you're ready, take the knees wide, big toes together, sit back to your heels, stretch out the arms out in front, forehead to the mat. And encourage your heart to melt down to the earth. Our child pose, a place we can always rest in if we need to take a little break at any time. And then from there, spreading fingers wide, tucking the toes under, downward facing dog. Giving your Feel a little pedal in your down dog, easing into it. And drop back down to the knees. Let's step the right leg forward and just work a little lunging sequence. So with the right leg ahead, hands on the right thigh, roll the shoulders back and together take an inhale, and with your exhale lunge forwards, we'll drop the hips down. Inhale, back up, and exhale, lunge. Inhale, and exhale, lunge. Staying in the lunge, release the arms. And if we could, interlace behind the back, stretch the arms back, open up through the chest. And hold there for a few breaths. Encourage your hips to drop towards the earth. Enjoy breath all the time. And then with your next inhale, arms back up to the sky. Placing the hands down and stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhale to a high plank. Into our knees and slowly down, exhale. Inhale to Cobra, Bhujangasana. Lift the heart, shine it bright. And then back down and press back up to your downward facing dog. The other side now, so either step the left leg forward or come to the knees first and then left leg forward. Hands on the thigh, roll the shoulders back, inhale together. Exhale, forward lunge. Inhale. Exhale and lunge. Inhale. And again, lunge. Stay there in the lunge, releasing our hands. Interlace behind the back. Open up through the chest and sink the hips low. Stay there for a couple of breaths. And then with your next inhale, arms to the sky. Hands down and stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhale to high plank. Onto the knees. Elevator slowly down. Inhale to Cobra. Back down and press back to downward facing dog. Good, let's walk up to the top of the mat, up to the hands. And fold forwards over the legs. If you need to come up earlier, but otherwise if you can, let's squeeze ribcage towards the thighs and hang the head. Relaxing neck and shoulders, getting that nice stretch through the back body, through the hamstrings. And then arms release, let's roll ourselves up nice and slowly, vertebra by vertebra, and roll out the shoulders up the top. And then feet together, circle the arms to the sky. Interlace our hands, point index fingers high, inhale, reaching for the sky, exhale, stretch over to your right side. Inhale back to center, lengthen, exhale over to your left. Inhale again, reach for the sky, exhale over to the right. Inhale, lengthen, and again to your left. Back to center, hands in prayer, pray to the heart. Now from the top of the mat, let's step our left foot back, take it a little wider towards the left side of the mat so your feet are apart that way, and so you can square the hips to the front. Left hip forward, right hip back. Now keeping the legs straight, interlace the hands again behind the back like we did before. Squeeze the shoulder blades together, stretching the arms back, opening through the heart. And with an inhale, look up to the sky. With your exhale, let's bow forwards over the right leg. Just intend to keep those hips square, so your right hip back, left hip forward, while the spine straight. Only go down as far as the body allows, and keep stretching the arms also up and over from behind, into your shoulders, into your hamstrings, still breathing rhythmically. Back foot is grounded, so pressing into the back foot, and then with your next inhale, slowly all the way back up. And then exhale, step back to the top, and the hands back into prayer. Wonderful, other side. Step the right leg back, repeating that, so taking the feet out wide enough to square the hips, bring the arms behind, and interlace the hands the other way, so have the other thumb on top, the weird way. Make sure the hips are square now, left hip back, right hip forward. Stretch the arms back, open through the heart, inhale. Looking up, and then exhale, bowing forwards. Remember keeping that front leg straight so we get right into the hamstrings as well as our shoulders. Maintaining the integrity with our spine, nice and straight as can be, and stretching the arms up and over from behind, deep into those shoulders. Ujjayi breath all the time, another couple of breaths. And then with the next inhale, coming back up. And then exhale, step back to the top, give the arms a little shake, shoulders a little shrug. And let's take the feet a little wider. Let's just get into a nice little arm swing rhythm. So just swing the arms side to side. A little loose up here. And starting to raise the arms up to shoulder height, feeling that a little more there in the shoulders and chest. And then reaching up towards the ceiling, up nice and high at your highest point. Nice to give the fingers a little flicker, flicking away all your worries, all the stuff we don't need, we'd like to release, let go of, away, 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 and then make your way back down. And release. Back to, or coming into mountain pose or Tadasana. Feet together, shoulders back, length through the spine. Spread the toes nice and wide, place them back to the earth. So spreading through the soles of the feet, rounding through our base there, lifting through the crown of the head. Close the eyes for a moment and find that balance between the earth and the sky. Taking a moment to internalize, notice how we feel, how's the breath flowing, how's the heart beating. Being in our stillness for this moment. And with the eyes back open, let's bring our hands now in prayer in front of the heart. We went through a few rounds of sun salutes with a little vinyasa aspect to it. So inhale, the arms to the sky. Exhale, we bow forwards. And then a halfway lift with your inhale. And you do exhale, fold further over the legs. Bring the fingers down, step the left foot back. And the ball of the back foot for our high lunge. Arms float up, inhale, low lunge if you prefer. And exhale, sink deeper into your lunge. Inhale, reach up, lengthen, then hands come down, and step back to your downward facing dog. From your downward dog to your high plank. Inhale. Now we come down either on the knees or chaturanga like a push-up. Then into your cobra or upward facing dog. And then press back to your downward facing dog. Right leg to the sky, inhale. Stepping through with the right foot. Exhale, and the arms through and up, back to our high lunge. Inhale. And steady exhale. Reach up, lengthen, inhale, and hands to the top of your mat. Step all the way forward and fold forwards. Halfway lift with an inhale. Exhale and fold. And then wind our way up, inhale, arms to the sky. And exhale, prayer to the heart. Other side. Same rhythm, arms up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, a halfway lift. And fold again with your exhale. Step back the right foot. And float the arms up, inhale. And steady exhale. Inhale, reach up and lengthen, and hands down and step back to your downward facing dog. Downward dog to high plank, inhale. On your knees or chaturanga, halfway down. Inhale to cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg to the sky. Exhale, step our left leg on through and the arms through and up. Inhale. And exhale. Reach up, lengthen, inhale, hands to the top of the mat, step forward all the way, fold forwards. Exhale. A halfway lift, inhale. Exhale and fold. And making our way back up, inhale, arms to the sky. And with our exhale, draw the prayer back to the heart. And take a moment there and connect to your breath. Notice how you feel. Repeating, working a second round, repeating, but adding on some more postures this time. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And fold further with your exhale. Fingers down, left foot back. High lunge, arms up, inhale. And exhale. Let's bring in a little fire into this now. We'll inhale, reach up with our arms swing. So exhale, we bow forwards and swing the arms behind. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swing bowing forwards. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swing. Inhale, up. Exhale, swing. Inhale. Swing. Inhale. Swing. Inhale. Swing. Inhale. And swing. Inhale, arms up. And then hands down and downward, facing up. Inhale to the high plank. On your knees or a chaturanga, halfway down. Inhale to upward facing. And exhale, downward facing. Right leg to the sky. Stepping through with the right foot, arms through and up, high lunge, inhale. And exhale. Now let's bring in warrior two. Reach up, inhale, drop the left heel down, and arms out to shoulder height. So watching that front knee, keep it in line with the toes. Shoulders roll back, hips sink low. Good. And then from there, right palm flips up, lean forward, and sweep up and back. Peaceful warrior. Left hand down the left leg. Into your side angle pose, forearm to your thigh, and your left arm over the left heel, drawing your left shoulder back. Sink the hips low here for a moment. Draw that length through the left side of the body. Steady breath all the time. Come back to your warrior two. Now straighten the front leg. Take your left foot out and in a little bit. Right foot out the other side a little bit, so squaring the hips back to the front. Just bring the hands to the hips just to check they're square, your back foot's firm. So similar to what we did before, but full Purusthottanasana. So I'll give you a couple of options here. So we could just interlace the hands again like we did before. Legs are going to be straight. We could bring the hands to the opposite elbow. Well, the full pose is actually a bit more challenging, but if it's available, to bring the hands into prayer behind your back. So that's a pretty strong one for the wrists, but have a go if you can. Draw the shoulders back, opening through the heart. So if you've got the hands in prayer, try to press the palms together. If you've just got the hands interlaced or bringing to the opposite elbow, as feels best for you, draw the shoulders back, inhale. And then bow forwards, legs are straight, hips are square, and we're drawing the body down again over the right leg, keeping the spine straight. Good work, stay here for a few breaths. And well done, inhale, bring yourself back up. Now release and give the fingers a little twiddle as the arms come up to the sky. And then reach ahead, bring the hands all the way down to the ground. So you've got the hands either side of the right foot. The legs are still straight now, that funky stretch. Now we might walk that right foot in towards the left a little so the feet are a bit more aligned behind each other. And then walking the hands around the outside, so tiptoeing them around the outside, so we get that nice stretch through the side, the outer edge of the leg, gallbladder meridian area. Walking the hands in towards the center between the 2 feet. They won't usually get there, but looking towards it. Hold in there for a couple of breaths. Quite a weird pose, this one, awkward one, somewhat, but good. It opens up sides of the body, works certain muscles that we don't usually work. That's enough. Walk the hands back to the top, and let's then step all the way to the top of the mat. Give the knees a little bend there, a little wriggle with the bottom. And then with the next inhale, roll ourselves back up, bring the hands all the way back to the sky. And hands in prayer to the heart. Good. Now let's repeat that on the other side. Arms up with your inhale. Exhale, we bow forwards. Inhale for our halfway lift. And exhale, fold further over the legs, fingers down, right foot back this time. For our high lunge, arms up, inhale. And steady exhale, so let's get in that little swing of things. We'll reach up with an inhale. And exhale, swing the arms back. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, swing. Inhale, swing, inhale. And swing, inhale, swing, inhale, swing, inhale, swing, inhale, swing, inhale and swing, inhale and swing, inhale, and then bring the hands back down and step back to your downward facing dog. High plank with an inhale. Knees or chaturanga exhale. Inhale, upward dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale our left leg to the sky. Stepping through with the left foot, arms through and up for a high lunge inhale. And steady exhale. Reach up legs and open up warrior two. So drop the right heel down, arms to shoulder height. Check the front knees in line with the toes. Hold there for a couple of breaths. Arms weigh a little more once we've been swinging them. Left palm flips up, lean forward and sweep up and back. Peaceful warrior. And then forearm to the thigh, right arm over the ear, draw the right shoulder back into your side angle pose. Hold there again for a couple of breaths. And make our way back up to warrior two. Now straighten the front legs, so take that left foot out a bit, right foot in a bit. Squaring the hips to the front and then bringing our hands behind, so the legs stay straight now. Again, we either bring the hands to the opposite elbow, interlace behind, or if it's available, try that namaste behind the back position. That's a possibility. Draw the shoulders back open through the chest. Inhale, look up, and then exhale. Bowing forwards over your left leg, more or less. Straight down really, but somewhat over the left leg. Pressing the palms together if we've namasteed. Drawing the shoulders back, lengthening through the spine. And then with the next inhale, slowly all the way back up, release the arms, give the fingers again, a little twiddle, hands to the sky. And then reach ahead, bow forwards, bring the fingers down, the feet more in line with each other now, keeping the legs straight as best you can. Walk the hands around the outside of the left foot and in towards the center between the feet. there for a few breaths. And then slowly walk the hands back to the top. And then step forward and fold forward. Roll ourselves up nice and gently. And roll out the shoulders up the top. Good work. Into your Tadasana, into your mountain pose. Take a moment there. Connect to your breath. And notice how you feel. Close the eyes for a moment. Bring the awareness to the soles of the feet. Find the balance between the north, south, east and west of your soles of your feet. That central place. And then we'll shift the weight into the right foot for a classic tree pose. On the left toes, left heel over the right ankle, or foot to the inner calf. If we can float it off the floor, potentially guiding the foot all the way to the inner thigh. Make sure you're either above or below the knee, not pressing against the knee. Hands in prayer. Roll the shoulders back. Take your gaze to a still point to keep the balance. Stay there, or circle the arms up, bring the hands in prayer above the ground. Go back to the heart. And stepping lightly back to the earth, giving our feet a little pedal. And then working the other side on the left foot standing, right heel over the left ankle. Stay there, or foot to the inner calf or to the inner thigh. Right knee out wide, opening up the right hip, hands in prayer. And steady gaze, steady breath. Now steady pose. Stay there, or circle the arms up, hands in prayer above the crown. Going back to the heart. And then stepping lightly back to the earth again, give the feet a little pedal. Now repeating either tree pose or if you'd like to try Galavasana, for those who'd like to have a little more of a challenge, then follow along with me. So starting with trees, on the right foot standing, left heel over the ankle, foot to the inner calf or thigh. Or if you'd like to try Galavasana, so you might just prefer to stay in tree, or Galavasana, you bring the left ankle over the right knee, so you bring the leg into like a figure four. And even if you just want to try the beginning of this, the hands in prayer, and then the next part is to start to squat down, so that's where we start to get a little funky. So we squat down, so there's a bend in that right knee, that left knee out wide, so you're opening up through the hips, working your muscles in the thigh and stretching the hip quite significantly. Of course, the balance now, that's already a good challenge. The next part though, if you want a further challenge, is bringing the hands down to the ground. Here's where we get really funky. And then that right foot wraps around the upper right arm, left upper arm under the left knee, into the hands to balance and raise the right foot off the ground. So that's, yeah, and then eventually stretch that right leg behind for the full pose, which is, yeah, quite something. Well done. Coming back down if you're still there, And coming back up. And all of us releasing that foot back to the earth. Good work. Pedal out the feet. Try the other side. Often find one side's better than the other. And the left foot standing right ankle over the left knee. This is definitely my worst side. Opening up the right hip, hands in prayer. Again, stay there or squat, like you're closing yourself up like a book. That's quite a challenging thing to do. So if you've got to this point, you're doing amazing. And if you're still just standing tall, you're also amazing. Bring the hands down if you want to go further. Right upper arm under the right knee. Right foot around the left upper arm. And if we could, we float the left toes off the floor. And ultimately stretching that left leg behind. For me, it's pretty hard on that side. And then coming back down, coming back up, and gently releasing the right leg. Good work, pedal out the feet. And then feet hip width apart or just a little wider for our sun breaths. Inhale, circle the arms to the sky, cross the arms, bow forwards with your exhale. Inhale, reaching top. Exhale, forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Once more with a deep inhale, reach for the sky. And with our exhale, let's squat down all the way into asana, the Yogi squat. So the arms between the legs here, hands in prayer. Option to sit down if it's not comfortable. So sit down on the ground if you need to, or on a block or cushion. If you can, just hanging the bottom there, rolling the shoulders back, lifting the heart. And keep the eyes open here. Shambhavi mudra, so one of our mudras, head mudras, where we cross the eyes up towards, to look in towards the third eye. So we're kind of like going cross-eyed here. It's a mudra that helps to stimulate the third eye. Shambhavi mudra, holding there for a moment. Intention to stimulate the third eye point. If that starts to feel a little strain on the eyes, then release. And potentially just close the eyes. Keep trying to maintain that inner focus at the third eye. Bringing the hands to stabilize. Come to sit down, release the legs out. Give a little shake. And then we'll take the legs nice and wide from there. I'm sitting up on a cushion here for a straddle position. So the legs nice and wide apart. And with the intention to make it a forward bend, but get into your hips and adductors, so the inner thighs, working there a little through our liver meridian. In Yin we would call that the liver meridian. As we bow forwards here, we would call this the Dragonfly pose. The liver meridian is one of the main meridians for our spring energy, which has sprung upon us. So it's stimulating that energy of anger and frustration, which is the energy of spring. From an emotional point of view, and not to see that as a negative thing. I mean, it can be, of course, anger and frustration, but also just to view the anger and frustration as the driving energy behind the rebirth of spring. So you can consider the plants or the new shoots coming up, the new flowers blooming, new shoots in the earth making their way up through the earth. You see that in fast motion. There is this kind of fluttering, kind of almost frustrating, angry energy to be able to move through the soil and come to life, express itself. So that's where that idea comes from, that anger and frustration, energy of spring, which is an energy we can align with to bring in our own new creations, our own new projects, new jobs, whatever it is that we're birthing at the moment. Or just, new intention, something we'd like to work with. So consider that for a moment. Maybe you do have some project you're wanting to birth, some just new pattern, new exercise, whatever it might be. Holding here for a few more breaths. Now, if we could try to go a little further, you've been there a little while, so we've kind of used this as a time to drop into a bit of yin energy. And so usually our edge shifts a little after some time. Maybe we can just edge a little further. We work on those inner thighs, work on the hips there, getting that stretch through the back as well. And liver meridian, liver energy, the spring energy is here. Wonderful. Bring the hands in prayer now. Let's reach up to the sky. And then with your exhale, circle the arms back down, scoop up the knees from underneath, and gently draw the feet together. We're going to come into Baddha Konasana now, so draw the feet together, draw the heels right in, hands around the toes, roll the shoulders back, and a few little butterfly wing flaps here, so just flapping your wings a few times. A little more there into the hips, still a bit of liver meridian work. Loosening up the hips. Of course, hips an area many of us hold a lot of tension, tightness, and just intention to help release some of the tension there. And then from there, stopping the flapping as we bow forwards again. Bowing forwards, again keeping the back straight. You could potentially drop the elbows in towards the inner thighs and press the knees towards the floor and draw the heart down towards your toes. That's your destination. So for many of us, like me, we don't really go very far here, but we feel it nonetheless. Some people I know can come all the way down and actually rest their head or heart on the toes. But yeah, usually we stay at a fair distance from there. But that's just depending on your hips and how they are placed in your body. Maybe somewhat if you were a ballerina or a gymnast in your younger years, that could have an impact there too. Just a few breaths there, feeling that deeper opening, deeper stretch in the groin, that liver meridian area. nice and slow and make our way back up. Ooh, if you're anything like me, I'm quite tight there. Really feel that beautifully. Bring the knees back together, the feet just ahead a little bit, hands behind you, and then a few little windscreen wipes there side to side. And then we'll come down now onto the back. Stretch out the legs, stretch out completely for a moment, just a little mini Savasana, just to take a moment to acknowledge the after effects of that liver work. And then bend the knees, feet hip width apart. For a back bend now, our bridge pose will lift the bottom off the ground, interlace the hands underneath and squeeze your shoulder blades together. Come nice and high on the shoulders there. Stay here for a little while so you can just stay there. Or potentially wedge the hands either side of the hips to support and lift a little higher. If anyone who fancies Urdhva Dhanurasana, the wheel pose, you're welcome to go ahead in your own time. Come into the wheel. And otherwise, staying where you can, breathing into your belly. And slowly, gently make our way back down. And then draw the knees into the chest, rock a little there side to side. And recline, twist, arms out shoulder height along the ground. Take a deep inhale, draw the knees over to your left side towards the left elbow, left hand to the right knee, right shoulder to the floor, and turn the head to look along the right arm. Let's pause there for a few breaths here. Recline, twist. And then release, come back to centre, then head over to the other side. Right hand to the left knee, left shoulder to the floor. And look along the left arm. Wonderful, back to centre. From here now, either come into a happy baby where we can just hang out there for a minute or two, or if you're up for a shoulder stand, maybe just a supported shoulder stand. Could have a cushion or bolster under the bottom and lift the legs up. Or full shoulder stand, legs up and over the head, use the hands to support the back, and then raise the legs high. Squeeze the shoulder blades together and high on the shoulders. Holding there. Flatten the full shoulders down, make your way slowly back down, legs over the head, and then unwind nice and slowly back to the earth. Arms underneath the body, into the elbows. We press to lift up into fish pose. We lift the chest high, keep the head tilted back, stretching out your throat, hanging the head upside down. And then gently release back down, release the hands from underneath, roll the head a little, side to side, make any last minute movements, adjustments, grabbing a blanket, socks, whatever you like for your Savasana. And settling ourselves into our backs there, closing our eyes. Deepening your breath. Work a full yoga breath. Breathe deep into the belly up. Through the chest to the top of the lungs. Breathing out of the belly and chest and top of the lungs. Letting go completely, giving in. Slowly, nice and gently. And to deepen your breath again. Awareness back to breath, back to body. Fingers and toes, a wee wriggle, stretch the arms over the head, fingertips to toe tips. Moving over to your side, and when you're ready, coming up to sitting. Sitting tall, shoulders back, spine upright. Your hands in prayer in front of the heart. Let's work an Om together to seal our wonderful work. Together on the out breath, inhale deeply. Take a bow with respect and deepest gratitude for each other. Namaste.